You know, guys, the Michigan Wolverines and Florida State Seminoles are two of the most iconic and storied programs in the history of college football. And as many of us know, they have legacies that are filled with triumphs, legends, unforgettable moments, and yeah, to be honest, also really sad ones too, especially in recent history, really leaving an indelible mark on the sport. Really, for the first time in a while, it feels like they're both on the mountaintop climbing and gnawing their way to the college football national championship game. And in my opinion, I really feel that after last year's title game, this is the game that every fan is going to want and deserve. The Michigan Wolverines versus the Florida State Seminoles in the college football championship. If you guys are as excited as me for this potential matchup, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you're new to the channel, because it does help me out. More people get to see this, and we're so close to 6,000 subscribers, on our way to 10,000, so I'd greatly appreciate it. All time, the Wolverines and Seminoles have only met a total of 3 times in NCAA history, with most recently being in 2016 in the Capital One Orange Bowl, where FSU beat Michigan 33-32. Since their inception, the Michigan Wolverines have claimed an impressive 11 national championships and are the winningest college team in history, cashing in close to 1,000 wins in program history. And throughout the years, the Wolverines have produced some of the sport's most iconic figures and Michigan men: Desmond Howard, Charles Woodson, and Tom Brady, to name a few. With commitment to excellence and dominance led by coaches like Bo Schembechler, Lloyd Carr, and now Harbaugh, it's no wonder the Wolverines have never faltered. Florida State, on the other hand, has been as vibrant as the sun-soaked state itself in history, having claimed 3 national championships. Florida State is renowned for its roots and tradition and history towards the Seminole tribe, with the most iconic parts of all of college football being the planting of the spear by Chief Osceola, a tradition created by legendary coach Bobby Bowden. And after only some success under Jimbo Fisher and years of suffering, the Noles are ready to dominate again in the ACC with its unwavering commitment to producing elite talent. Now under head coach Mike Norvell, the Noles are striving to recapture the glory of their past and make a return to the national championship stage. And it's truly shaping up to be a David versus Goliath fight, and I am so excited, guys. Honestly, you know, the biggest part that gets me so excited for this potential game is the fact that Jim Harbaugh would be going against Mike Norvell. 2 guys, in my opinion, that I feel like both were disrespected, and now they are 2 of the best coaches in the country. They both honestly have amazing staffs, and their players love playing for them. Oh, and I mean, come on, you guys can't tell me you wouldn't be jacked up to see this high-octane powered offense of the Noles go up against arguably the best defense in the country right now. And really, I think it would be an awesome 60 minutes of battle for these 2 teams. Because number one, what's been so fun for me when watching Florida State this year is just seeing other teams trying to keep up with them. Legitimately, this is the only way to beat FSU outright right now. You won't stop them from scoring 30 points per game. If you can outscore them, you will beat them. And I know, as simple as it sounds, Florida State has had 13 straight games of scoring 30 points or more and averaging 42 points per game, which is currently the longest streak in all of the country. And it doesn't look likely it's going to slow down anytime soon. They've covered every single spread all season. And also, Florida State's defense pretty much all season has been playing stellar, especially in the second half, outscoring and shutting down opponents like LSU 31-7 in the second half, 24-3 in the second half versus Clemson, 17-7 in the second half versus Virginia Tech, 24-0 against Syracuse, and last week against Duke, 21-0 in the second half. All frickin' season they've been shutting teams down, and I really think that's fine credit to both their coordinators, Alex Adkins and Adam Fuller. But dude, the way Jordan Travis is playing right now, and I think he's finally starting to get comfortable, especially in RPOs and running the ball. I mean, I think he's starting to get more comfortable with all the noise and hype around him, and just his ability right now, what he's doing. And sometimes he does hit a slag, but when he's on point, man, he can literally sling it and do anything with the football. And also the last couple weeks, his grittiness has been showing up too. And I think because Jordan Travis is getting so comfortable now, Norvell is feeling compelled to be more creative with the offense. Like, we're seeing a lot more 2 tight end sets. The running game feels much more integral to the passing attack, and I think Jaheim Bell and Kyle Morlock are finally getting their due against the game with Duke. And Florida State also has a top 2 wide receiver tandem in Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman, who's from Michigan State. The transfer's been unbelievable, and it just makes me so sad as a Michigan State grad. Florida State's defense, much like Michigan, has been pretty much suffocating, as I alluded to earlier. Their linebacker depth is insane right now. They have Kalen DeLoach, Tatum Bethune, and DJ Lundy, and they're all pretty much playing out of their mind right now. Their defensive line has to be one of the top units by now. Braden Fisk was all over the field last week with Jared Verse and Joshua Farmer. And probably the most underrated person on their defense right now is Renardo Green, who's literally a ball hawk and playing out of his mind right now. But, and this is a big but, it's important to remember that because the way Florida State's offense has been playing the past couple weeks and really all year, the defense hasn't had to do a whole lot. They've been playing with the lead, so it'll be interesting to see when they go against Michigan in the Natty and see how they attack. But just looking at Michigan, and I gotta pause right here because I don't want to hear anything about sign stealing, signal stealing, nothing right now. For those of you that watch my Michigan video, you guys know how I feel about it. There will be repercussions and people are gonna get let go. That's all I'll say about it. Other than that, this team, Michigan, feels like a well-built, oiled machine, and they're probably the best team in all of college football right now with the way that they're playing. Jim Harbaugh has arguably put together one of his best squads he's ever had in his tenure, and he's got a Heisman caliber quarterback in JJ McCarthy under his belt. Number one, to me, the most impressive thing about Michigan all year is just how they've been playing and just dominating their opponents in the first half. I mean, guys, they literally have been pulling their starters in the middle of the third quarter, probably 80% of the games that they've played so far. And I gotta admit, and because a lot of people say it in the comments that they've had a cupcake schedule, the Big Ten is down and it has been awful for the last couple years. And the Wolverines are showing you who cares at 8-0, and they're leading the entire country in scoring margin, outscoring their opponents by a total of 325 to 47. Right now, they have a top-ranked scoring defense in the nation, allowing 5.9 points per game, and no team has scored more than 10 points. The only team that actually did was Minnesota, and they got blown out as well. According to ESPN, the Wolverines currently have the number 9 strength of record winning. They're not just playing dominant right now, you guys. The numbers are starting to back it up, and they're becoming historic. But going back to JJ McCarthy, who's the front runner for the Heisman Trophy right now, what's most impressive about him, specifically last week, what I noticed is he's next level when scrambling at full run. You know, it just almost seems like he leaps in the air and throws a precision and completion while his feet are well above the turf. Like, you don't even see guys in the NFL doing that. And I know Michael Penix is having a great year over in Washington, but JJ's playing like the best quarterback in the country right now. And I think what's the scariest thing that's going to be for Florida State or anybody remaining in the schedule for Michigan is that he doesn't play in the fourth quarter. He has just thrown 4 passes in the fourth quarter. Just freaking crazy, man. And according to PFF, McCarthy grades out as the number 1 quarterback in the country with a 92.6 offensive grade. He's also the second most accurate QB in the country, completing 78.1% of his passes, and is second best in the country with a 199.1 QB rating. And I just think the real test and what's going to be really scary for Florida State is just how many weapons JJ has to throw to. I also think, too, Michigan has a top 10 wide receiver tandem in Roman Wilson and Cornelius Johnson. Really underrated guys in the tight end room in Colston Loveland and AJ Barner, the transfer from Indiana. And it's just crazy because I feel like they didn't really know what they were getting in Barner when he transferred over, and these guys are just starting now to come on really more and more each week. An excellent backfield in Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards. And guys, we got to remember this too. This is all coming behind a top 10 offensive line too. I think this offense can be just fine doing a shootout with Florida State. And if the offense can't keep up with FSU in the Natty, then the defense surely can keep them in it. I mean, to be honest with you guys, the Michigan defense is one of a kind right now. Something that I find really interesting that Michigan does is that they rotate 6 interior linemen and 4 edge rushers every single game. Just the ability to have that much depth and keep bodies refreshed is just insane in and of itself. The Wolverines currently have the number 10 run defense, allowing just 85 yards per game on the ground, which is also crazy because, like I said, their backups come in the fourth quarter. Jalen Harrell and Josiah Stewart have to be the 2 biggest studs on the defensive line, and I can't forget about Chris Jenkins. They also have stud linebackers like Florida State and Junior Colston, Ernest Hausman, and Michael Barrett. The DB, Will Johnson, who nobody ever throws to, is playing spectacular, and my favorite player on their defense, Mike Sanders, the converted wide receiver, has 3 interceptions on the year. He's playing absolutely insane. But I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think. I think Michigan here has a slight favorable edge just because of where they're at right now, how they've played throughout the season. Nothing against Florida State. I love my Noles, but just the way Michigan has been so dominant on all phases. It'd also be really interesting to see the two personalities of Mike Norvell and Jim Harbaugh clash with each other and have two quarterbacks who play very similarly in Jordan Travis and JJ McCarthy. I honestly think this game would be a lot better than last year with TCU and Georgia. I don't see Georgia going on a three-peat tour. They lost Brock Bowers for a couple weeks, and I feel like they're going to be slipping in the power rankings soon. We could see Florida State jump all the way up to 3 or 2. Michigan, I think, is going to go to number 1. I think both these teams will remain undefeated on the year, so that means Ohio State slips down. You have Washington rises to number 4, so you have Michigan playing against Washington and Georgia against Florida State. This all really depends on how Georgia and Washington finish the year. Like, this could go many different scenarios, but that's the way I think it's going to go. Let me know what you guys think down below. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Honestly, this one was really special for me just based on, what I've done in the past with these two teams, making videos on them, so I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys did too. Let me know what you think down below again, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.